Hey, guess what? So this lady is this is interesting because this lady is a new board member on The Intercept. And wait till you hear what she has to say about Julian Assange, right? What does she have to say?
What do you think about Julian Assange's arrest? Do you think that that's good or bad for journalists?
You know, I have a different view because I think that the wholesale dumping of WikiLeaks actually isn't journalism.
So now even Rachel Maddow and Chris Hayes will tell you Julian Assange is doing journalism. That's why he won all those journalism awards. So what this is showing you she won the Nobel Prize, by the way. And she's working with the CIA. and she's repeating CIA talking points. Isn't that interesting? Well, let's watch this. If I were a media beat, I'd cover this. The Intercept, a U.S. journalism outlet which brands itself as fearless and adversarial to U.S. state power, appoints to its board an individual from the National Endowment for Democracy, an arm of U.S. state power. Goes right to the board at the Intercept. To my knowledge, the Intercept is the first major U.S. journalism outlet to have someone from a U.S. government-fueled funded organization, a U.S. intel front at that, sitting on its board of directors. Truly a milestone for independent journalism. Man, very well said, and good catch by Aaron Mate. Of course, he's a real journalist. He just got another award for being an independent journalist and telling the truth, which is what the Intercept can never do. The Intercept will never tell you the truth about Ukraine. They'll never tell you the truth about Syria. And Aaron Mate will. That's why he wins awards. And that's why the people who work at the Intercept are embarrassments to themselves and their family. The Intercept's announcement of Ressa, her name is Ressa, by the way, Marissa Ressa, I guess is how you say it. Her appointment to its board they describe her at the Intercept as globally recognized leader in independent journalism. It fails to mention her recent appointment to a U.S. government-funded regime change organization. They don't mention that. The Intercept doesn't mention that. And there she is. And that's it. The National Endowment for Democracy, which is, we know what that is. That's a intelligence front that goes and helps overthrow other governments for the CIA and Americans' imperialism. And she's a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and she joins the Movement for Democracy at NED. So she went right from the Peace Prize right to the CIA. That's what she did. And why do you think those peace prizes aren't worth shit anymore? They come out of Oslo, and I was exposed to you when I went to Oslo that they're all working for the military-industrial complex now, and all that stuff they seem to be doing about human rights is just a front for more invasions, and that's why she was given the Peace Prize, because she's willing to go along with the CIA talking points that helps us invade other countries. And now she's sitting on the board of the Intercept, and now the DC bureau chief of the Intercept is Ryan Grimm. And here's what Shama Sawant has to say about Ryan Grimm.
But that's one part of the story, right? The other part of the story is all the Ryan Grimms of this world. We have to be very clear. They are cynical purveyors. They are snake oil salesmen who are very consciously peddling the Democratic Party support. And
so that's who Ryan Grimm is. Well, here he is. So Shama Sawant, he's a snake oil salesman. And that's why he gets paid six figures over at the Intercept, and I get a check from 3 different billionaires now. And so call your.
Welcome to a special Sunday edition of You Left Shit Out. I'm your host for today. I'm CJ, or J, or Compton J. Any of those will work. Something's going on with Twitter. I'm sorry, with YouTube as far as the display of people. I can't see everybody right now, so hang on a second here. Today is a doozy one. So what's happening is we're live, but YouTube, this is the type of things they do to suppress us. So when we're asking you to like, we're serious. So if you look here, we're live, but it's still showing that we haven't even started yet. But you can see closely, it shows 70 some odd people watching. But this is the type of suppression we get. So we're live, but it's still showing that we haven't started. Like as far as the schedule, still says notify me when they start. So this is what we have to deal with. Let's see if it gets corrected in a little bit. But right now, that's what it shows. So thank God for Substack. So let's just get right there. Substack right there. Let's join. You see what YouTube is doing. If you're depending on YouTube notifications, you're not going to get notifications. They're still showing that we're not even live. So join our Substack. We send emails when we go live. This is, I don't do this. I didn't do this last Sunday before that. So maybe every other Sunday. And some Sundays it may be 2 Sundays in a row. It may be a Saturday. Sometimes Nick and I come on. If you want to know when we go live, join our Substack or when we drop clips. And also considering also the suppression, liking the stream is very important. Sharing the stream is very important. And I just can't believe that they're doing this. This is the second time this has happened. Let's see if they've updated it. Nope. So I'll give you another update. If you can see there, I don't know if you can. Oh, let me go this way. Hopefully you can see it. Still not live, says notify me, but you can see it shows the amount of people watching. Anyway, let's get this is so weird, but let's get to some of the other announcements, because I want to get back into this Jimmy video as our introduction, but we also have YouTube memberships. I think tomorrow we'll make it 3 weeks. We've been YouTube has given us YouTube memberships, or given that as another perk that we can offer our subscribers. So just shouting it out, $3.99 a month. We also have our Patreon, and Patreon is very important because Patreon is how we do the things we can say, hey, this is the long-term things we can count on, is the support we get on Patreon. So if you're able to contribute on Patreon, here's our Patreon, and it's lower tiers. So on YouTube right now, the lowest is $4, basically $3.99. On Patreon, though, I think the lowest I've seen somebody give is $2. I think you can give what you want, but I don't know if they cap it at $2 because that's the lowest I've seen. So $2 a month if you're able to. If you can't share and like, as you can see, we're getting suppressed. Let's move on. So I think we're at. Oh, that's the wrong one. 32,300. Let me update that now. I said that last time, so I don't want to keep saying that. So we're onward to 400, and I think it's very close. So thank you and welcome to everybody that's brand new who recently joined. Oops, not this one. Who recently became a member or became a subscriber and part of the RBN community. Let's make this save, and how about we scroll the Patreon at the bottom? We'll do that. There we go. Here's our website. Website is where you can go and see pictures of some of our community outreach work. There's still a lot more we have to upload, specifically the ones with the library. Rome has done a lot of the remodeling already, and all of the stuff on the website is all before he even started the remodeling process. So all of the stuff you've been seeing on Twitter and other social media like Instagram that he's posting, the work he's doing, just amazing. So check that out, and that's one thing we need to update on there. We also have our labor fundraiser going on, and our labor fundraiser is just raising money so make sure we're paying I should say, our labor, and right now it's just our editor, but we need to hire more labor, like administrators. So if you're able to donate, the current goal right now is 1,000. We also have a GoFundMe. Let me see if I can see what the GoFundMe is right now. I've been putting off, hey, I'll let you know, but since I'm right here, let's see. Do I have it? I do. I do not. Where was that I got the notification? Anyway, email us. Email us, and it's scrolling there at the bottom. Email us if you want the GoFundMe. Some people in the background that helps us. They'll respond to the email. So if you need the GoFundMe account, email us and we'll get that to you. All right, so let's get back to the intro video with Jimmy, and because we covered, was it me or is it Nick and I? But we covered this very thing. But he gives a lot more background in the people who are on the board of directors and the supposed new CEO, like this link to the CIA, this CIA intelligence front organization. That part I didn't include. So I did want to kind of see this part. Let me just go back a little bit so you can hear the beginning, then I'll fast forward a little bit. So we're not going to listen to all of that, what we just heard, but at least the video of the lady talking about Julian Assange.
Hey, guess what? So this lady is this is interesting because this lady is a new board member on the Intercept. And wait till you hear what she has to say about Julian Assange, right? What does she have to say?
What do you think about Julian Assange's arrest? Do you think that that's good or bad for journalists?
You know, I have a different view because I think that the wholesale dumping of WikiLeaks actually isn't journalism.
Then what is to you? Getting the information in and leaking it to or giving it to news organizations. What other hurdle needs to be jumped to reach your criteria of journalism? CIA front lady?
So now even Rachel Maddow and Chris Hayes will tell you Julian Assange is doing journalism. That's why he won all those journalism awards. So what this is showing you she won the Nobel Prize, by the way. And she's working with the CIA. and she's repeating CIA talking points. Isn't that interesting? Well, let's watch this. If I were a media beat, I'd cover this. The Intercept, a U.S. journalism outlet which brands itself as fearless and adversarial to U.S. state power, appoints to its board an individual from the National Endowment for Democracy,
So the National Endowment for Democracy is a known a CIA front, an intelligence front. Well, we're here to help. We're here for humanitarian reasons, when it's really just to pillage the country of its natural resources by way of the CIA inducing some sort of conflict. And there you go. But let's let the video play a little more.
Arm of U.S. state power. Goes right to the board at the Intercept. To my knowledge, the Intercept is the first major U.S. journalism outlet to have someone from a U.S. government-funded organization, a U.S. intel front at that, sitting on its board of directors. Truly a milestone for independent journalism. Man, very well said, and good catch by Aaron Mate. Of course, he's a real journalist. He just got another award for being an independent journalist.
So let's move it forward. So you hear what that how that lady is connected. This new member on the board is connected to this CIA front. Now let's move it forward to what Shama Sawant says about Ryan and people like Ryan. Now, I'm going to let it play a little bit of this news article part because it's pertinent to the lady we were just listening to. But let's go.
Because she's willing to go along with the CIA talking points that helps us invade other countries. And now she's sitting on the board of the Intercept. And now
now I understand why, and Nick and Sabby and Rome and JB, now we understand why Ryan Grimm had the reaction he had when all RBN did was take Aaron Mate's tweet and say, look, Ryan is lying and shielding for lying again and shielding for the ruling class. From that tweet, he blocked us. got called out about it, and he immediately unblocked the main account. Of course. If you knew this lady as Ryan and you're trying to pull off this whitewashing of The Intercept through your tweet, if you're trying to pull this off, people who you can't people who can influence whose influence would be counter to the propaganda you're trying to spew, you don't want no part of. The GMEs, the RBNs, you don't want no part of that. So let's continue here.
The DC bureau chief of The Intercept is Ryan Grimm, and here's what Shama Sawant has to say about Ryan Grimm.
But that's one part of the story, right? The other part of the story is all the Ryan Grimms of this world. We have to be very clear. They are cynical purveyors. They are snake oil salesmen who are very consciously peddling the Democratic Party support. And
so that's who Ryan Grimm is. Well, here he is. So Shama Sawant, he's a snake oil salesman, and that's why he gets paid six figures over at The Intercept, and I get a check from 3 different billionaires now. And so you call yourself a journalist and you get paid by 3 different billionaires. The Intercept has appointed an inaugural CEO, and we're announcing a new board of directors. We're going fully independent.
This is the tweet where he tried to pull off a lie. And he may have gotten away with it if Aaron Mate didn't call him out on it. He may have gotten away with it. So, yeah.
It's a gamble, and we'll be relying on readers to support what we do. That's a lie. Oh. That's also a lie. Everything he said in there. Anyway, so Aaron Mate gets him. Buzzsaw comes in. He says, this post says that The Intercept's inaugural CEO comes from a group funded by its owner, Pierre Omidyar. So The Intercept is getting its CEO comes from a group being paid by the guy who owns it now, the billionaire, as do the 2 members of the board of directors, one of whom is Omidyar's senior advisor. Yet you're saying that The Intercept is going fully independent?
Ryan, because he responds, yeah, he just says, fair point. And he says, well, he's only going to control a certain percentage, and I wouldn't say that he also has, that we're dependent. So he got caught, and then that was his way of trying to squirm out of it. But anyway, let's listen only some more so we can, because when we get to this Anna story, there's a lot to cover, and I'm getting notifications of probably something else I may have to include here. Yeah, so I may have to. I'm going to look at that as we're looking at some other things here. But let's listen to Jimmy maybe another 45 seconds to a minute and see how he covers this attempt at lying and pulling the wool over the public and trying to pretend like the upcoming information, like i.e. about China, we're independent. So now you can trust what we're saying.
From Omidyar? They're not. So he's just lying. So that's right. Ryan Grimm, snake oil salesman, once again, goes on social media to lie to people. And the good thing for him is most of the people who follow, I would say enough of the people who follow him don't care that he's lying. A lot of them see it.
Yeah.
Aaron Mate saw it. He comes back with, this is him trying to, he goes, that's fair, though I wouldn't call that a dependent either. Omidyar will probably represent less than 10% of the giving after the drawdown. So it was a lie. You're not going fully independent at all. The people on your board, your CEO, still work directly funded by him, and he's still giving you money. Probably less, probably, or maybe more. That also means maybe more. So when you said fully independent, you were fully lying, because that's what Ryan Grimm does. Aaron Mate catches him again and says, in other words, The Intercept is not going fully independent. Won't be holding my breath for coverage of stories like the OPCW scandal or Omidyar scam network of disinformation watchdogs. So the guy who funds the Intercept also funds other bullshit watchdog organizations that just do the bidding of the establishment warmongering machine.
And I think we'll pause it there because I do want to get to some of the other stories. But this thing that Jimmy's referring to, where he's funding under groups, he funded the group that was the source for the article that everybody called out on AP, where it says pro-Russian group is fuel the Ohio derailment or something like that. He's the money behind that group as the source. So you have him as the owner. And then you have this new, I think he said she was part of the board of directors. I don't think he said she was the new CEO. Either way, a board member. Yeah, he said board member. So on the board, now they have a CIA intelligence front group linked member. So what do you think they're going to be saying about China, about Russia? And any other intelligence that's going? It's like, this is a joke. And like Aaron Mate, I'll take that comment off, sorry. Like Aaron Mate said, I'm sorry, like Aaron, so that's Aaron Mate. Now we're trying to switch to Aaron Good. Aaron Good has called out the Intercept as a likely intelligence front. Now he phrases it that way for obvious reasons. It's like saying allegedly, but he says like likely intelligence front. The Intercept. Said it on this network. I played it in a segment a long time ago. But let's get to a couple. I think we can cut it there, Aaron. And as far as this, and go watch this whole thing. It's called Breaking Points Host Ratioed After Adding CIA Shield to Board of Directors. And then I'll go to ours so you can check out ours too. So we are. So go. He just released that today, so I don't want to, watch too much of it since it's brand new. And then ours is right here. You can watch this one. Can you see? Let me see if you can see that on the screen. So you see next to the top right AOC, then the one that says independently. That one, that is the clip from the full live stream, and it says Ryan Grimm falls off the fence into the swamp. Let me see what the rest of the title is. The Intercept is independently wealthy in quotation marks. And then the full stream, I think it's called Ratio. Did I pass it already? Oh, I got to go to lives. These are clips. So here is if you want to watch the full stream, is right here, Ratio, top right. You can see it there. It says Aaron Mate and Jimmy Dore catch Ryan Grimm lying. And it actually got pretty nice views. It's at 7,000 right now. So, go check out the full version. If you don't have the time, check out the clip. It's like a 20-minute clip. All right, so let's now, man, it's a lot to cover for this next topic. But we're gonna we're gonna narrow it down to some content because let me show. Now my kids have been watching TV. So Emma did a video by herself, and you see that there. I think you can see, right? That top video. Emma did a video by herself. Then the Vanguard has a video. Not sure I'm gonna get to the Vanguard video coverage of it. Right here, down here. Then Lance, who is not that one. We're not going to cover that one. That's from the Humanist Report. Humanist Report posted the Leftist Mafia stream. That's the full stream. But there's a clip, which is right here. The clip was put out on the Surfs Times, which is Lance, the guy part of the leftist group. He put out the clip. So we're going to watch that clip. Because they have more of the in-depth discussion, and I like what Ole is saying in there, so we'll talk about that. And then Sam talks about it. So as you can see, lots and lots of people chimed in. I'll take this title off. Lots and lots of people on the boutique left chimed in on this. And let me put up the graphic. So here you see the graphic here. So Emma, and so basically the majority report on one side with Emma and Sam, and then you have everybody from the Humanist Report, the serfs, and then the leftist mafia, because they represent both on the left. Now some people are canceling her and some aren't. Her friends obviously are finding ways to downplay it a little more by acknowledging it's no, I'm not going to say downplay it, because I must say they do. Some of them do critique it pretty hard, so I'm not going to say they downplay the critique. I don't want to be unfair by labeling it that way. So let's actually run a couple of announcements here, because I do have partial view now, although it's still showing that we are not live. I just cannot believe this on YouTube is doing this on a Sunday afternoon, but they are. So currently we're at 77 likes. We have about 150 people watching. Can we get to 150 likes? Maybe that'll help. So that's literally about doubling the likes we have now. So we can get about 80 people to hit that like button to get us to 150 likes. It'll be greatly appreciated. Like I was showing, if you're just joining us, it's still showing that we're not even live. So if somebody is on YouTube right now, just looking at and just, oh, let me wait. Oh, they're late. No, we're live, but it's showing that we're not live. So appreciate it if you hit that like button. You see what they're doing to us. Hit that like button. Also, if you want notifications when we go live, join our Substack. We have $3.99 memberships. Our website is here. And below you see our GoFundMe. If you want to donate to our GoFundMe, we will send you the link. I got to get it. I tried to look for it just now, but for whatever reason I couldn't find it. Email us and we will send that to you. That's scrolling at the bottom. We're raising money for labor costs to pay our employees what they request to be paid. So if you are kind enough and have the money and join us to give, please give $1, $2. We're trying to raise $1,000 now. That's the Venmo. And then if you want the GoFundMe, is there at the bottom. Now let's get back into the stream, and now we're going to be shifting to Anna Kasparian. How should I label this? Anna Kasparian talks being a woman. Let's just give it that title. Anna Kasparian talks being a woman. We can start it here. Aaron, did I spell that right? Anna Kasparian. Yeah, I think that's how you spell her name. So we'll start here. Actually, let me see if there's any super chats before I get in here. Actually, we're going to start with the tweet. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, let's start with the tweet that started all of this. It's posted in the community tab on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, if you want to go see this for yourself and pull it up. But let's go. How about, did I bookmark it? Let me see if I bookmarked it. I may have bookmarked it. Yeah, here we go. I bookmarked a couple, but this has gone completely viral. And let me blow this up. As you can see, 27 million people have viewed this. Now, the criteria to consider yourself a view, I don't think that means they click on it or engage. It just means that it slid through. They scrolled through the timeline. Now, I scroll through the timeline a lot. I don't even be paying attention to a lot of stuff. I'm looking for something specific. So 27 million views and 126,000 likes, most of which are by the conservative people she talks about, like Ben Shapiro and Carrie Lake, which is very, very crazy. Let me see here. And my bad, Aaron, we haven't started yet. I need to keep this up because I need to get notified of something. All right, so I'm gonna keep this up so I can make sure. And I might be chatting with some of those in the live chat. I brought up the live chat, so I might be. Let me put it up. So I'm here. Oh, not that one. I was logged in as the Populist Voice. Let me log in my personal. We haven't started yet, everybody, but this one, I may want to make some comments myself in the chat, so I do want to prepare. Hey, I'll just say, hey, I do want to prepare, y'all. So I'm here in the chat. I'll be making some comments here. This is the Populist Voice, where my network, I haven't posted on there in a while, so I've been trying to build up RBN. But anyway, now, Aaron, we can start here as far as the segment. Anna Kasparian has a very viral tweet. Let's just call it that. And it's about her being a woman, or at least declaring to the world that she is indeed a woman, if anybody was unsure. Let's read it. I have it up on the screen here, so let's read it. I'm a woman. Please don't ever refer to me as a person with the uterus, birthing person, or person who menstruates. How do people not realize how degrading this is? You can support the transgender community without doing this. So this shit went viral, and we're going to look at some of the responses here. But this is what spurred, now this is not necessarily all that new, or maybe it's 2 days old. I know it wasn't yesterday, the day before that, maybe. Oh, why don't I just look at the date? I'm tripping. The 22nd. So 4 days. Oh, wow, I was off. So 4 days ago. But it spurred, and it's still going. It spurred all of these streams, all of these podcasters covering it, her friends, essentially. Emma being one of her close friends. That's how they describe it. I didn't know that, but I guess they are. So let's look at some of the responses, though. And what's funny is she gets a lot of response from, and we'll go to the quote tweets, like Republican type people, conservative type people. And I'm going to go to the older ones first. So I'm going to scroll all the way down and go to the older ones. So bear with me. Like I said, this is 100 is lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. So I'll try to go as closest to the beginning as I can, because I do want to get some of the people that's been on this. But let's lower. And let's do a few more scroll downs and start. Let's just start here, since it kind of paused there. So here's a reply. Absolutely love this woman. And I would only assume, and I'm using stereotypical traits on purpose, I would only assume that this person, Carol, may be a conservative. And it's two things: the word patriot being in the name, that tells me, and then the flag. Those are two things that on Twitter sort of signify stereotypically that you're conservative. Let's continue. It's sexist to call women people is my favorite turf take. So this is obviously somebody who's saying no to Anna. And then here's another one. This is reactionary and reflects an anti-trans men bias. The only time we talk about pregnant people is when we're talking about pregnant people. When we're talking about women, we say women. To equate to is isolation. In isolation is just turf shit. And that's, I mean, I can't say it better than that, but I'm going to read it again. The only time we talk about pregnant people is when we're talking about pregnant people. When we're talking about women, we say women. So the point that I think this is saying, and it's also a question I would have, is to Anna, is that, is it something that triggered her tweet? Like, was she out having coffee at Starbucks with her MLB husband? If you didn't know, she's married to an MLB player, Major League Baseball player. They're out somewhere posh where homeless people are bothering them, apparently, because she's mad at the homeless people too. Apparently somebody called her at the local coffee shop. When her coffee was ready, they said, Anna, woman with uterus or person with uterus, your coffee's ready. And she was embarrassed in public, I assume, because just to, out of the blue, like, to go, hey, out of the things I can tweet about, let me just pull this. That is where the place, I feel like, it's like, why are you even having to make this tweet? So what precipitated it? And a lot of people are asking that question. A lot of the video content we're going to watch, that's the very question they're asking. It's like, well, I would like to know what exactly precipitated this. And let's, I wonder, and you know what? I'm not even going to do that. I was going to wonder, not about the topic, but about why, I'm trying to wonder, it could be about the topic. Why would YouTube, because it could be off the title that they're doing, how they're suppressing in this way and not showing that we're even live. It could be in the title, and I'm wondering it's because what's in the title? I have Russiagate in the title, I think, and transphobia. I would think the transphobia part they would want to put out because they want to beef up the culture war. But maybe the Russiagate part is affecting it, or is there some other glitch that I'm reading too much into it? But anyway, let's continue with some other. Now this one got 2,100 likes, and anyway, it says people who menstruate is a distinct population from women, even if you exclude trans people. So it's like saying, calling all of us Americans, even though I'm a Californian. I think that's the point that's being made here. Is Anna saying there's not a more broader category of people that include women or cis women? And that's the point that is being made here, Joe, and this is another good point that's made here. So, and now this one gets 220 likes, and let's listen to what this person says. Trans people. I guess this is trans people talking. Can we use gender neutral terms in medical settings to encompass everyone with a uterus, cis women? Oh, this is trans people talking. It is my God-given right to have my gender forever boiled down to my reproductive system, and don't you dare take that away. These are some great replies here. So let's listen to this one. This one has there goes that American flag again, and I pulled it up. I hovered over it, and it's a Ukraine flag. So that's telling me a lot, and I'm assuming a lot. I'm using stereotypical assumptions, I should say. Let's read this one. This is not a thing. Now look how I was wrong here. I'm thinking, oh, this is a conservative. Now let's listen to what they're saying. This is not a thing. Anna Kasparian is creating a crisis, a drama, a controversy where none doesn't exist. Now see how what I could have assumed by the flag and then the Ukraine flag, the two flags, oh, this person's going to be conservative. But this person is actually saying, no, Anna. And that's really what everybody is sort of reacting to. Like, well, what precipitated this? Because if nothing precipitated this, this is like you just starting shit. And that's the point. Like, what? Like, why are you just starting shit? What are you trying to do? Let's check and see what they're showing us as now. Still not showing us live. Amazing, but still not showing us live. Let's continue. I'm enjoying these tweets. Now we're gonna get into the video, but I'm enjoying reading these tweets, these reactions. Riley says trans people are literally undergoing a genocide. Oops. In this country, and you think it's appropriate to center yourself in your feelings, please shut up. And it goes back to, because this also can be tied to what precipitated this. Because to Riley's point here, if nothing precipitated this, why would you send this out under the conditions of what he describes transgender people going through, undergoing a genocide in this country? It'd be like, trying to give an example outside of the confines here for people to kind of relate to. It'd be like right after the George Floyd killing, like it say George Floyd was killed yesterday, and then Anna, unprompted, coming out and saying something in favor of cops in some sort of way. Like, why are you picking a particular moment when a police officer murdered a civilian in broad daylight on video? Why are you picking that moment to say, hey, I love police and look at all the great, like, why are you doing that? It seems very odd to do that. Now, let's go back to her tweet. Because she is a woman. And if there was more, now I'm going to read more, and I'm going back to this because she does go more and explain more about it. So, but just going off this tweet, because let me see, when did she? I thought she. Oh wow, Jordan replied. Okay, so I guess I got to go through this thread. Oh yeah, because Humanist Report also replied through this way. So I guess I got to kind of scroll down this thread. Sorry, everybody. Let's scroll down. Here's Jordan and Status Quo, or Jordan. I'm not gonna say Status Quo is more people than just Jordan or Status Quo. So Jordan says, beyond a few mentions from someone trying to be inclusive in a statement, this seems like a pretty fringe term, but real. Legal definitions reducing people down to organs is what the right is doing, trying to do, and they are not the same people supporting the trans community. So that's Jordan, and of course, I want to find people I know or pertinent to the or that is material to the conversation as far as who is speaking. Now I do want to find. Oh, he has me blocked. Yeah, so I can't find Humanist Report's tweet outside of. I think somebody may have screenshot it. Let me go to my bookmarks here. Somebody may have screenshot this here. Oh damn! Did somebody? No. All right, so let's go. Oh, let's go to this one, and then we'll just. Or somebody could have, but I didn't have it bookmarked. Is the better way of how I should have said. So here is Professor, and we just had Professor on a week ago. Yes, tomorrow. Was that a week ago? Tomorrow? Yeah. Did we just have Zonkas on? I can't remember. It might have been 2 weeks from tomorrow. But anyway, let's read what he says here, and then we'll move into the video content. Here's Professor Anna Kasparian and Jink now know exactly what they are doing. This is a trial balloon for so-called progressives and liberals to see if they're okay with transphobia. Wow. Anna using these terms with disdain as if somehow she's been harmed is peak turf think. Fuck the young turfs. That gets 3,000 likes. All right, so let's go to Twitter and see the breakdown. But before I do that, where did I put that? Before I do that, I want to show you something, and it's a clip I've shown many times. It's Michael Brooks and Vivek, Michael Brooks and Vivek, and it's a short clip, but we're gonna listen to a little bit of this and how. Oops, let me listen to it now and see where we're at on the clip. It talks exactly about what was happening with the pseudo left right now with Anna
in the dominated groups. Identity politics.
Okay, we're right around where we're supposed to be here,
guys. That's what the middle class on the left wants to hear about.
Okay, we're right there because this is the last place I think I was watching it. So
the left has those non-whites who are in.
Okay, so what we're seeing right now,
a lot of liberalism within the left today.
Now transphobia is a real thing. What's happening to trans people in the United States and everywhere too, but specifically in the United States and sort of like the public sort of representation of that. There are some conservative people. But it begs the question, why is Anna interjecting this? And this speaks to why Anna is interjecting this to me. This clip that we're going to be watching about Michael Brooks and Vivek Chibber. I think that's how you said it. I always hate saying it the wrong way. But you can see it there. The name of the clip, if you want to look it up yourself. Maybe, you know what? I'll do you a favor, and I'll put the link myself in there. So let's get the link. And I'm going to put this link in the description box right now. So the only YouTube link. So that YouTube link is to this video. It says, "Is the U.S. left too middle class?" featuring Vivek Chibber. And it's spelled Chibber. I think that's how you say Chibber. I think that's how you pronounce it. So let's listen. Now, this is why, like, if nothing precipitated this clip speaks to why a person like Anna in the professional managerial class would out of the blue bring this up. So let's listen to this clip.
I would not call it that. So
1 second here, I'm gonna go back.
liberals made, that Kant made, and that Hegel made, and we want to make it real. Now, the liberalism that you talk about, Michael, when you say there's a lot of liberalism within the left today, I would not call it that. So the identitarian stuff that you talk about, the narrowness, that is not an ideological hangover of liberalism. That is a very, very active set of people pushing their material interests.
Right.
The left in the United States is fundamentally and overwhelmingly a middle class formation.
The left in the United States is overwhelmingly and fundamentally middle class. Now, Anna is more upper middle class, or even, I don't know, the class, whatever class is after upper middle class, whatever. She's not ruling class level, but she's a millionaire. Not even counting her husband. So listen, think about that point when we're talking about the context of all the content that has been made around this tweet with Anna. So think about that, and when he finishes this quote or this video.
It is not it's the first left globally, historically, that has no connection to the working class, to the poor at all. People complain that the left is white. Bullshit. That's a second. The left has those non-whites who are in the American left are all middle class too. It's disproportionately white, but it's all middle class, regardless of its color.
Mm-hmm.
In that setting, when you're only bringing in middle class people into your organization, a big chunk of them are going to say, we don't want to hear about poverty. We don't want to hear about the economy. What we want to know is, when we walk into a room, why are we not treated well? When we apply for the salaried positions at 6 figures that we think we have a right to, why do we get 5% less than the other guys? That's what the middle class on the left wants to hear about. It will dress it up in all sorts of historically powerful.
So think about that. Why are we even at the juncture to even be talking about this when there's so many other pressing issues? And I think this video speaks to it. And I don't mean that appropriate language to be inclusive to trans people is frivolous or unimportant. But you know what's more important than that? Stopping the genocide of trans people. But stopping a genocide of trans people, where a lot of trans people are being killed, happen to be in a lower economic class, poor, poverty. No connection. The middle class has no connection to what's happening to the poor and working class. None. So there's a lot going on with trans people. But the pseudo left is choosing to debate over language. No connection to the middle class, because even this debate is lacking what it needs to have, needs to be included. Even the debate they're having, and that's the point I'm trying to make with this Michael Brooks. These are the people we're teaming up with. Or in the past. So now I think the point is made. It's not to be belabor the point. Do you think I'm not even going to speak to it. So now let's go to I think we can start the video I want to start with. Let me see if it draws. I want to start with the leftist mafia video on the topic. And let's start here and listen to Ole kind of start. Ole's the one who speaks first, and it starts right into it. So I want to make sure everybody's listening I'm gonna start it. Here is the Leftist Mafia on the same topic, and the title of their video. I guess I got to put this link up too. Anna Kasparian clashes with trans community over inclusive language. Let's listen.
So yes, I acknowledge all the work she's done, but
We
this
all
is,
like
and
that
that's
now.
why,
Everyone
this is,
here.
and that's why this is some knowing bull. And I don't like the way she's sidestepping it. And second of all, I want to say this. This is the way that, and I want to call this on what it is, on the white womanness of all of this, because this is the way that white women act that makes people feel like you're not real allies. And very much so, I want to speak to the Bill Burr joke of being in on the heist and not liking your cut, because this is the tippity top most privileged ever. Do you know how much how many words, how many ways of classification exist in this society that I don't like as a black woman that you live with? Think of like every time urban to me and black people, urban all the damn time. I hate criminal justice system. I hate law and
Sorry. How about minorities? That shit makes my skin crawl when people use that term.
order. I hate 90% of the shit we say and things that are a part of our fucking lexicon. But I don't get to make this level of declaration like, oh, it's so bothers. You can want to be called by whatever you want to call in your life. No one is stopping you from calling you a woman. People refer to you as a woman. You are a woman. Nothing is infringing upon you. But the fact that you unprovoked were so bothered by the idea of other people using this inclusive language.
And that's the point that I think everybody's kind of, it's like, what precipitated this is the point, is what precipitated you having to make this declaration. It's just weird. It's just weird. And it almost makes me feel like there's no way she could not have known that. It almost makes me feel like Anna, because it's not just this topic. It's police funding. I'm sorry, it's the police state. It's the military. It's the homeless. It's the unhoused and homeless situation. Like what's happening with Anna and TYT? Like, are we just progressing left and they're just staying in the same place? Or are they regressing to you? Seems like a regression to me. Because when Roman and I was having a conversation similar to this, and he was like, no, it's like we just kept moving left, is what he was saying. Like, we kept moving and they stayed in place. But this feels like a regression, and Anna must know the type of reaction she was going to get. So it makes me feel like the culture warrior that she is, just trying to drop something out there to content fill, to stir up shit, to stir up. Oh, you guys are the Trump people and y'all are being too nice with each other. Let me stir some shit up. That's what it feels like to me. Let's listen to some more.
That you even feel like you could make some PSA as though like people should not be using this because you don't like it, because it's not your preferred measure, is a level of privilege that is not being called out in this conversation. That's some real white woman, and I like Anna, but that is what that is. Like up yours.
Will. That is some white woman shit, and you don't have to be a white woman per se to be doing that. It's more of an expression to me.
See who cancels who.
People want to talk about Anna Kasparian, or I don't know how to say her name. This turf
This
thing.
another one.
Dave.
Yeah.
They don't really
All
want
right,
to.
we're gonna have a debate on this one.
Dave, take it away. Take it away.
Before we debate, who is that?
Well, let's
Please fill Kenny in.
so let's start with the tweet, which I think we can all agree
So
is.
this was the first tell Kenny who Anna Kasparian is and what the Young Turks is.
So
Young Turks.
Yeah.
Is that like the
yeah,
whole-
so they're like the longest running progressive news show on YouTube. They have like 5 million subs, I think, on YouTube, but across like Facebook, I don't know. They have a lot of followers, a lot of viewers, a lot of influence, generally, at least historically, on the left. And to be fair, have sort of been trailblazers in the sense that they have, allowed other people to sort of come up in that space. But apart from all that, so this tweet, which I'm not going to defend the tweet. I don't agree with it. I think the tweet's wrong. I think it's misguided. Let me bring it up here.
It's pretty bad. It's deplorable, as they would say.
So, all right, I'll intro this. So Anna tweeted out, and this is sort of, this is, as far as I understand, this is unprompted. I'm not sure where this came from, but I'm a woman. People don't, please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus, birthing person, or a person who menstruates. How do people not realize how degrading this is? You can support the transgender community without doing this shit. So I'm not sure where this, I don't know.
Where did this come from?
I have no idea. It's worth, so before we get into criticizing it, because again, I don't agree with it. People that are friends with her, I will say Emma Vigeland on Majority Report today, good friend of hers, had a really good criticism of this. So I think hopefully people that
we're
know her
gonna
well,
watch that.
I know her a little bit, but not, we're not texting. So hopefully people like Emma are in conversations with her. But I just want to point out that there's a lot of bad faith criticism online over this, like people just blankly saying that she's anti-trans now completely, that people bringing up stupid shit like the Armenian genocide because of the Young Turks, when they have both, first of all, Anna's Armenian, but like Cenk has acknowledged the Armenian genocide like 1,000 times. And anyways, really dumb bad faith criticisms. Also ignoring the fact that based on, so one of the things that went viral, or not viral, but trended after this was the Young Turfs as like one of the examples of how people are.
I see. I didn't know all of this, but I'm not on Twitter like that. Like I don't. It's too much stuff going on in my life for me to be on any social media like that. So I didn't know this until I started to prepare for this segment, that it was trending. It's not the Young Turks, TURKS, but the Young Turfs, TERFS. So yes, let's continue.
Calling them. If you search trans on TYT, it's purely in defense of trans people. Like, you're not going to find one video that is criticizing trans.
But it's in defense of trans people only when Republicans are doing something. You get what I'm saying? Like would they be in defense of trans people if the other people who is the opponent in the video isn't a Republican? You get what I'm saying? So let's make sure we flip that framing. It's not that they're doing trans advocacy. They're just debating the red team, and this is their position on this. So like I said, there's a lot of advocacy you could be doing for trans people that doesn't include content talking about Republicans.
Trans people. It's endless content defending, talking about what the right is doing. It's endless. So to try and paint.
This is the white person using the N-word, calling somebody a nigger. And then their friends come in and say, she has friends. She has black friends. That's what this is. So why is David even doing this? The same thing I said to Jordan Sheridan when he came to defense to Jan Perlman, or was it Jan? I don't want to say Jan Perlman if it wasn't her. So came to defense of some white person that I forget who we were debating. She's not a racist. Nobody was even talking to you, Jordan. Why are you coming in feeling like you need to be a defense to defend white people as other people being called racist? Why are you feeling like you need to go out and say, look at all the content she's making of trans people? This is like saying, but she has black friends though. I'm not racist. I have black friends. You don't think it wasn't racist people in the 1700s who didn't have black friends? Black people raised a lot of rich white people's kids. What are you talking about? So anyway, and I mean, can you be racist and Thomas Jefferson liked the black person enough to have sex with her to have a baby, but he was racist. So this doesn't prove anything. I'm not saying she is, is or isn't. I'm just simply saying doing this, but I have black friends. That's what this is, what he's doing. But let's continue so we can get through to the other content.
An entire network, and even as Anna, as a TERF, because of one tweet that I think is misguided, I think is ridiculous. That said, I don't know why this tweet went up. I don't know what the point of it.
When I called you a nigger, that's not who I am. Isn't that what that is? This doesn't define me. Okay. I'm giving parallels for those who may not, able to see it through the lens of the context of trans people in this conversation. So I'm trying to give you an analogy with black people. Let's continue.
Tweet is, I don't know. So a lot of people on the right were like, oh, look at this. Anna agrees with us. And, not to say, guilt by association isn't always a smart thing to do, but the issue is if they're all using your tweet, there's a reason why they're doing that, right? So I think it's important at that point to come out and clarify. Now, to be fair, if you go through the replies, she replied at least to Carrie Lake as one example, because Carrie Lake, terrible, person who ran in Arizona, pretend she won the election. She replied saying like a broken clock's right twice a day. Anna replied to her being like, you're a piece of shit. So she's going, she's responding to some of these terrible people.
Oh, you're a piece of shit. That helps.
Being like, hey, I'm not on your side. But at this point,
clean up your room.
If I was in her position, I tweeted something that was misguided, stupid, I would come out and apologize. As far as I've seen, that hasn't happened. I don't.
So, David, I posted a link in our private chat. She actually just addressed this on the TYT main show briefly.
Let's see
it. I'm friends with Anna Kasparian, and I was kind of going back and forth with her publicly. I also reached out privately, and she kind of references this in that. And so if you want to play that, then I'll kind of explain to you like my take and the way that I approach this with her, because I agree that it's completely unfair to label her as anti-trans.
Wow. It's unfair to label her anti-trans, says Humanist Report, who literally calls out like he is at the forefront fighting or doing content for the trans community or an advocacy for the trans community. But this is okay, I guess.
Having said that, though, the tweet was really bad and it bothered me, and I privately
he because I can't remember where I saw it, but he's how I even came up even know what was going on. I saw somebody post a screenshot of him replying to Anna because I'm blocked. That was the only way I was able to see it. That's how I even knew about this story when it happened.
Explain this to Anna Kasparian, but this is her addressing it, and then we can kind of go.
You're still really, really loud, by the way, Mike.
Am I really? Okay.
I didn't know that. So she addresses it here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me adjust
Mike,
that again.
You're fine, Lance. You're super loud.
Yeah, you guys super loud.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I'll turn myself down too. Okay, hold on.
Let me.
If
Sorry,
you guys
is
turn
this
on
better?
automatic volume, it should in the settings on StreamYard.
I'm gonna do that.
Work.
Offends her if raped. Offends her because she feels like birthing persons is offensive.
So let me.
By the way, we should explain as well before even that birthing person is not used on a regular basis. This is not a thing that people say.
And even Jenkins.
We're good. I got it.
All right, let's play this.
C. Zerkley wrote in, I love TYT, but I'm kind of tired of getting the vibe from Anna, and even Cenk at times, that my plight as a trans man who could get preggers if raped offends her because she feels like birthing persons is offensive.
So let me.
By the way, we should explain as well before even that birthing person is not used on a regular basis. This is not a thing that people say it's only ever used in medical terminology. As an example, quick before I show Anna's video here, this is a good example of that. So this is how the media has covered this stuff. This is the Atlantic, not even, I mean, they're right wing, but they're not like, Fox News. The culture war over pregnant people, and they're basically criticizing this. So but it's based off of stuff like this. So the White House blueprint for addressing the maternal health crisis. So the right, jumped on this. Oh my God, they used the word pregnant people 3 times, used women 230 times. Like they only use pregnant people in relation to when it's necessary, when it's discussing certain issues around pregnancy, right? Like, so this is a complete non-issue. It's a complete non-issue, and no one's calling Anna or any other.
And I want to speak to this because this particular sort of tweet, this is the point that I was sort of alluding to. It's like, and several people have said this. It's like you're creating an issue that's not even there. But this 230 versus 3, but conservatives are making it a huge deal. You see how this is a non-issue that is just being manufactured to be an issue. Why wasn't trans people a problem when the RuPaul Drag Race premiered years ago? Did the ruling class have other issues they can use to separate workers? And some of those issues they don't have anymore to separate workers in the same way, so they just picked up on more current issues? Yes. This proves it. 230 times they mention women, but hey, they mentioned birthing persons, or how did they say? Pregnant people 3 times.
Anybody else a birthing person in an everyday conversation. That isn't happening.
The only time I've heard someone try to use it, it's usually in addition to. It's like, hey, by the way, can you please include birthing persons?
Exactly.
Not erase women. Like, obviously this affects half the population. They're trying to do
therein
forced birth.
lies, and therein lies the fundamental problem and the true issue with what she said and that she said it. Because at the end of the day, she knows as well as we all know, as people who are all dealing with the news, that the trans community is under literally constant attack all around the country illegally. That is reality. She knows that. She knows that they are a political, right now, the Republicans are using the trans community as a political scapegoat for all of their bigotry and to come after tooth and nail, and there are real dangers to that. And as you pointed out, David, yes, they have covered many, many, many trans issues and stuff, so they know better. They are more aware than anybody what that community is facing. So to come out with what you know is a non-fucking issue, it's something that leans into right-wing talking points to give them at a time when a bunch of people are looking to legitimize their transphobia and legitimize this bigotry. So they are clamoring for people who they, especially people they like, people who they trust or whatever, to have these things that endorse. And you see that because all in the comments, you see people in our comments right now in this live chat, you're like, oh, what's wrong? And that's right. And she should be able, and blah. And that's the fucking problem. And that's how it starts. And that is the larger problem, because at the end of the day, no one is stopping you from being a woman. Nothing.
So I think they made their point, and I do want to move forward. The point of covering this is to illustrate sort of what the pseudo left not only dabbles in, but it's like a big part of the conversation. these culture war fights, even and it sounds like within the Democratic supporters, because you have all of them on the leftist mafia who are progressive and claim to be her friend. So it's infighting within the progressives about this. How come TYT, Anna Kasparian, and Cenk happen to be falling on the right? And I don't mean right as in correct. I mean right versus left. How come they keep falling on the conservative right side on a lot of these issues? That they're just claiming, oh, we're in middle ground. Are you? So let's go to the next sort of clip. They mentioned Anna. So Mana made a very, very short clip.
RIMs are broken. I don't know what's going on, but they froze basically at the start of the show, and then they aren't coming back. And I tried to refresh, then I lost all of them. But I did see an IM that I just wanted to respond to really quickly because I didn't want, like, they actually are broken, but I felt like people might be like, you're dodging this. I'm not. So I saw that my dear friend Anna Kasparian kind of went viral with a tweet, and some people wanted me to weigh in on it. And I just look, she, as I said, dear friend of mine, really good person. I don't think she's anti-trans. I don't think that's really even a question. She has a long track record in this space, and I think her track record should speak for itself. She's been in this.
Like I said, I put these things, I'm using an analogy to put it in other terms if you can't see the perspective. Imagine she was saying this about Anna, if Anna was caught saying something racist or doing something racist. Like, I mean, you will be saying this. I think her track record proves it. She's not a racist. Isn't that what they say? Just saying. Just saying.
Space for a long period of time and has done a ton of great work. However, like I really do disagree with the emphasis. Like, I think it's wrong to overinflate the usage of kind of awkward language like birthing person, both in frequency and in terms of the stakes involved when someone is referred to by that language, because it's awkward. I get it. It's stilted when being used in non-medical or technical terms, but I think that's like kind of the extent of the critique, right? It's awkward. It doesn't take away anyone's rights, and it's not in, when being used right now in that context, it's not taking away anyone's rights. And like, as a cis woman myself, I just think it's more important to put into context that, like, while you might not enjoy the technical language, that awkwardness is inevitable in this current climate and necessary, because we're trying to like fortify walls right now as trans erasure is widespread right now. Like, there's a barrage of deliberately trans exclusionary language, which is what some of the awkward, stilted terminology is meaning to beat back. And that trans exclusionary language is really just the tip of the iceberg for systemic erasure. So being diligent.
I think the more we go along with this segment, the more that Michael Brooks Vivek Chibber video just rings true to me. Because these are literal non-issues. And the pseudo left is just entangled in this, and I'm almost wanting to just cut this segment short because just it's depressing listening to so much time being spent on cultural war issues. What's happening to trans people is not a cultural war issue. You fighting over trans language and trans bathrooms is a culture war issue. All right, let's try to get through this and get to the next segment. I thought there was possibly one. Yeah, Sam. So let's listen to Sam on the same topic, and so yeah, let's listen to Sam. Let me kind of real fast forward through all the fluff here.
And so,
Okay.
and I know you were gone yesterday, Sam.
Yeah, I think.
I think did you see I commented on this yesterday?
Yeah,
And that's the
yeah,
video we
right.
just watched.
And I know she's a friend of the show, and I know that her and Emma are personal friends, and so I don't think that you need to like completely lambast someone, but I don't know. I felt like, for instance, the clipping of that with the title that she's not anti-trans was not necessarily the right. To me, it just seemed kind of tone deaf. I guess the problem I had was that like that tweet in and of itself.
So he's pointing out Majority Report's own titling. So the video we just watched with Emma was titled "Anna Kasparian is not anti-trans." That was the title. And this caller is saying that's kind of being tone deaf considering what just happened. It's kind of being tone deaf to the situation, which it is. But she addresses it. Let's see if she addresses it now.
It wasn't great, but I think the bigger context was the replies. It got very combative and a lot of Nazis popping in, agreeing with her. Ben Shapiro's retweeting her. Carrie Lake popping in saying, "Hey, a broken clock." And some of the replies from her, I'll be honest, were indistinguishable from something that J.K. Rowling would say. At least that's how I feel.
But within the context of like her.
This is one of those no Minky Kuntz moments. Remember when she ran and there was already a progressive and that whole debacle, and they had to, their audience is calling them, "Hey, what's going on with this? What the fuck's going on?" And they had to deal with that. This feels very much, maybe not as directly only the Majority Report, but it's their friend trying to not. I guess you have to defend her. I mean, you're having to defend her with people because you're defending her by saying she's not anti-trans, but you're critiquing, the current issue. But this is funny.
Larger commentary on trans people. I don't think that's a fair critique to put her in the same boat as J.K. Rowling. And like, you can have, I think, quibbles with the way the video is titled. I didn't even
like you see how she points. The bigger point was that Anna is in there acting like J.K. Rowling is what she's saying, or what the caller is saying, and she's saying I don't think it's fair to put her in that category. She's not saying, "Oh, she didn't say those things in the tweet," and I think I want to end it here. I can't do another video of this. I thought I would be able to do a full breakdown, but just listening to it, I felt like Ole gave the basic breakdown that was needed, critique of this tweet, and everything else is just what can you say? This is the pseudo left. This is the pseudo left. This is what is pressing to them. Not building community with trans people, but talking about the language and people misusing the language and giving talking points to people like Carrie Lake, the pseudo left, ladies and gentlemen and humans and people. But let's get to the next thing, something that is more up my alley. I can't believe this is Matt Gaetz. I literally cannot believe that this video I'm about to show you is not coming from the pseudo left, the NATO left. It's coming from Matt Gaetz. I think I saved it. Yeah, I think I put it bookmarked it. So Matt Gaetz has I think he's a commander. What's in the intro of that? If you didn't see it, Mint Press put out something, one of JB's video. So if you haven't seen it, I guess I can play it.
This is for a nation of renters.
Vanguard and Black.
Never forget that Vanguard and BlackRock are buying up all the private housing in the country and making us into a nation of renters.
Vanguard and BlackRock, for those who don't know, are the two largest private equity firms on the planet. Many call them shadow banks. We live in the United States where there are tens of millions that are housing insecure, and we have 17 million empty houses.
What's so wrong about everyone having housing? Like, and if you ask somebody that, well, they didn't work for it, neither did landlords. If you're talking about people not having housing because they didn't pull themselves up by the bootstraps, like, housing should be a human right, because without housing, you die. People who are homeless, they literally have to work every single day just to survive. Never forget that Vanguard and BlackRock are buying up all the private.
So great, Mint Press put that out. JB video. So that was good to see. So shout out to JB. And it says, never forget that Vanguard and BlackRock are buying up all the private housing in the country and making us into a nation of renters. That's his quote. And it says, James Fauntleroy of Revolutionary Blackout Network on the U.S. housing market. So great. And then they also tag him and everything and show the video. So good to see. All right, so now I don't have it bookmarked, so let's go to the AFRICOM. Maybe I could have been logged into a different account. AFRICOM, Matt Gaetz. All right, so yeah, we're going to be changing segments here. Well, where is it? So this is the article. So I guess I can bookmark this here. That's the accompanying article, but I do want to play the video. Okay, is this it? Yeah, this is. No, this is not it. It was like a 5-minute video. Who posted that shit? Oh, my bad, everybody. I'm supposed to clean up the language. It's like a 5-minute video, the one I'm looking for. I saw it. Man, I can't believe I did not tag that shit. Was it Aaron Mate? Oh, you know what? I retweeted it. My bad, everybody. I'm moving a little slow intellectually today. Today's Sunday, so I retweeted it. So let's go. Let's see if I can find a tweet. So Matt Gaetz, this looks like this was a hearing that's going on, and Matt Gaetz is doing questioning of the, I don't know what the name, what do they have their name? Supreme Commander of AFRICOM, and what they're doing out there. It's amazing to watch. It feels like I'm getting close. No, that's the Stop Cop City, which is another video we should be checking out soon. I thought I retweeted it. I'm sure I retweeted it. I hope I retweeted it because I can't find it's no. Man, I may not be able to get it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and people. I may not find it. I wonder if they took it down. Oh, is this it? Oh no, that's not it. Got me all excited. All right. Let's check my own page. I thought I retweeted it. So I checked the regular account. Let's check my page. Okay, here it goes. I did. All right, so this is the 5-minute one. Who is this one? This is Maria. All right, so all I have to do is go to my own page. This right here, AFRICOM is training Africans to overthrow their government. That is the title. AFRICOM. That we're gonna go with today. Training Africans to overthrow their government. And hey, it'll be a long title today. I can't shorten this one. Training Africans to overthrow their own government. And this is from AFRICOM. I'm still not showing us being live. It's still showing us as not even starting the stream yet. So let's get through some announcements again. Let's hit that like button. As you can see, we're being suppressed. You see, the last time I checked, we got up to 220 people. We've had over 500 people come through. We're at 155 likes. So if we can push that to 205, so another 50 people hit that like button. Even though YouTube is suppressing us right now, heavily suppressing us, I can't believe we're an hour and a half into the show, and it's still showing that we haven't even started the show yet. So if you're here, you just clicked on it regardless of what it says. I can't believe it's still showing that we're not live. So 50 more people hit that like button, get us to 205 likes. This is why it's so important to be on Substack. Today is a perfect illustration of the worst conditions, because this is probably the worst condition where people aren't getting notifications simply because we're not live. I wonder when we go towards the end, if we're gonna all of a sudden go live, which will be very weird if that happens. So we shall see. All right, I think that's the only two announcements we'll do, and now let's get back into the story. This is a great video. Matt Gaetz is the one who put it out. I guess I could have went to his page too, but he has a lot more tweets. Let's listen.
General Langley, I have constituents that have been scattered across Africa on train and equip missions. So just ballpark, in the last decade, how many Africans has the United States military trained and equipped?
Congressman, I don't have that figure. I can get that figure for you.
Ballpark, just, how many?
Congressman, it would be a wild guess, right?
Seems like something we should know, right?
Over the years, we have trained a substantial number, especially in the Gulf of Guinea states, but including
like more than 10,000.
It is more than 10,000.
More than 50,000.
I'd say we're reaching around 50,000 at least.
And what percentage of the people we've trained end up participating in insurrections or coups against their own government?
Very small number.
Now, how would they be able to track that? A very small number. At least he's admitting it. And his uniform, to me, and all of those pins on him represent his level of coonery. All those stars and pins is him being identified by the white supremacist imperialist core, the United States. This is the top coon. This is the coon that will sell out other Africans and kill them. This guy for white supremacy.
Congressman, very small number.
So what percentage do you think?
I'd say probably less than 1%.
But it does happen.
The IMET program.
You notice how he's crystal clear and has that number. Crystal clear on the people they've trained becoming leading coup members or wanting to overthrow governments, being trained by the United States, he knows quite clearly and quickly, oh, it's just like 1%. 1% of 50,000? These people can't be serious. Do he really believes that we think that it's only been 500 people?
Program is in force, and we've pushed a number, a significant number through our schools across the.
Yeah, and what data sets do you track to arrive at the conclusion that less than 1% of the roughly 50,000 that we've trained have participated in coups? Because it'd be like about 500, about 1% of 50,000.
Congressman, you may have that information. I don't at this time, but I know.
Well, I know there are some, right? Like go ahead and throw up that image. This is Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, and this is a photo of him. Did we train and equip him in Guinea?
By name, I cannot identify.
Oh, now you see how he goes in and out of knowing the answer to the question? He goes in and out. I don't know. I don't know that. So you don't know him by name or face because it's been so many. Let me rewind it. This is Matt Gaetz. This is not Katie Porter and her whiteboard. Ilhan Omar, when she was on the Foreign Policy Committee, never did nothing like this.
Go ahead and throw up that image. This is Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, and this is a photo of him. Did we train and equip him in Guinea?
By name, I cannot identify that.
Yeah, that guy in the middle with the big red hat, Colonel Mamade Doumbouya. That's him with a bunch of U.S. service members outside of our embassy. And just months after this photo was taken in 2021, he led a coup in Guinea and threw out the leader.
This is Matt Gaetz. Meanwhile, Anna Kasparian is tweeting that she's a woman. Do you think Anna Kasparian is going to do a video on this? Maybe she has. Maybe they will.
Does that concern you?
Congressman, core values is what we start off with in IMA programs.
Do we share
stick to
core
that.
values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Core values. I will repeat that. Core values.
You notice he's not answering. He's not even going to start answering the questions here. He just, core values. What the fuck does that have to do with the question, sir? Coon, I hate coons, man. I hate coons. Like they're worse than the KKK to me. Amazing. But anyway, let's continue.
I know.
Respect for humanity.
Do we share those values with Colonel?
Absolutely. In our curriculum.
He led a coup.
We do.
Okay, well, that's a very telling answer.
The head of AFRICOM says we hold the same values as a coup leader. And he's right. That's why they train him to go do the coup. We gotta listen to this shit again here. You have Matt Gaetz calling out coups. Can't make this up.
With a bunch of U.S. service members outside of our embassy. And just months after this photo was taken in 2021, he led a coup in Guinea and threw out the leader. Does that concern you?
Congressman, core values is what we start off with in IMA programs.
Do we share
stick to
core
that.
values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Core values. I will repeat that. Core values.
I know,
Respect for humanity.
Do we share those values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Absolutely. In our
do?
curriculum.
He led a coup.
We do.
Okay, well, that's a very telling answer. In Burkina Faso, did we share core values with the leader that we trained there who led a coup?
It's in our curriculum. We
Leading
stress
coups
core
are in our
values.
curriculum?
We request civilian-led governance.
Wait, hold on. Is leading coups in our
Wow,
curriculum?
I can't believe.
Absolutely not.
So
civilian-led.
My
Civilian-led.
question is, do we share core values with the coup leader in Burkina Faso who we trained?
Holistically, we teach core values.
Y'all got a coon who can't talk that well. Y'all got a coon. Y'all elevated a coon to a level it appears he's not ready for. Oh, apparently it's showing we going live now. Wow. Yeah, so now it's showing we're going live. So I think I know what it is. All right. All right, so let's sorry, it just the indicator that shows that we are live now just came on literally right when I was talking about this guy. But anyway, let's get back to the story. This guy's fumbling over his words now.
Do we share
stick to
core
that.
values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Core values. I will repeat that. Core values.
I know,
Respect for humanity.
Do we share those values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Absolutely. In our
do?
curriculum.
He led a coup.
We do.
Okay, well, that's a very telling answer. In Burkina Faso, did we share core values with the leader that we trained there who led a coup?
It's in our curriculum. We
Leading
stress
coups
core
are in our
values.
curriculum?
We request civilian-led
Wow.
governance.
Wait,
hold
on.
Wow.
Is leading coups in our curriculum?
Absolutely not.
So
Civilian-led. Civilian-led.
My question is, do we share core values with the coup leader in Burkina Faso who we trained?
Holistically, we teach core values with a respect for civilian governance, apolitical, and that's what sticks across a very high percentage in the 90 over
But not
99
everybody, right?
percentile.
But not everybody. And when I wonder how many people it takes to plan a coup. I mean, initially you didn't know how many we trained and equipped. Then you said it was 1%. You had no basis for that 1% number because there's no data set you track. Mr. Chairman.
Which is a point I didn't make earlier. This is Matt Gaetz. I can't believe this is Matt Gaetz making these points. Because he just made the point earlier, you had no clue what the number was. So how can you derive 1% from what base point when you told me you have no clue what the number is? You see how he goes in and out of understanding or in and out of memory. Remembers this stuff? Remember that? Don't remember this. Remembers this? Don't remember that.
I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record, another U.S. trained soldier stages a coup in West Africa by the Intercept.
Without objection, so ordered.
And I further seek unanimous consent to enter into the record, U.S. forces trained the Guinean colonel behind the recent coup in West African country, and this is regard to Guinea.
Without objection, so ordered.
So I guess the question is, why should U.S. taxpayers be paying to train people?
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. I am just so blown away that this is Matt Gaetz. I'm gonna have to cover this with Nick. I'm gonna have to cover this, Nick. If you're watching, sir, I'm gonna have to cover this again. I have to hear what Nick would say about this shit here. So this is shocking to me. Like, yes, Matt Gaetz, they did force the vote, and yeah, I was down for that. But they extract the shit I didn't particularly want, not all of it. This here, I want. What is happening with United States political discourse, where we have Matt Gaetz, terrible Matt Gaetz, calling out coups, calling out the funding of training these people who turn around and do coups, as if the United States didn't know that in the first place. And then you got AOC breaking strikes. AOC having military recruitment events, and then Matt Gaetz is calling out coups. What the fuck is happening? This is Bizarro World. Got another minute and 15 seconds. I'm gonna turn my sound off and just listen to the rest of this shit. I am so astonished here.
Who then lead coups in Africa. Initially, you didn't know how many we trained and equipped. Then you said it was 1%. You had no basis for that 1% number because there's no data set you track. Mr. Chairman, I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record. Another U.S. trained soldier stages a coup in West Africa by The Intercept.
Without objection, so ordered.
And I further seek unanimous consent to enter into the record. U.S. forces trained the Guinean colonel behind the recent coup in West African country, and this is regard to Guinea.
Without objection, so ordered.
So I guess the question is, why should U.S. taxpayers be paying to train people who then lead coups in Africa?
Congressman, our curriculum harvests core values and also to be able to embolden these countries for a representative democracy.
But General, that democracy isn't what emerges. The problem is, I know you may have great confidence in what you're teaching, but when two governments have been overthrown, I guess how many governments have to be overthrown by people we train before you sort of get the message that our core values might not be sticking with everyone? Is it 5 countries? 10?
We'll continue with our persistence in assuring.
But do you think it's
that
working?
they harbor democratic norms, democratic values?
You don't belong here, sir. Or person. What's wrong with cooing a bad government? You don't belong here. If you're serious, I can literally say you do not belong here. If you're joking, all right, you're joking.
Just a moment ago,
apolitical.
You said we shared core values with Colonel Doumbouya. You said that just moments ago in response to my question, and his core value seems to be leading a coup. So I don't think it's stuck. I think we should at least know how many countries we train the coup plotters in. How many is too many? Because clearly 2 is not too many, and I think we could use our resources far more effectively than doing this.
That was Matt Gaetz, I must say again. We are living in the twilight zone. That was Matt Gaetz, people. Oh, God. It's just bananas. Bananas. All right, so yeah, I'll keep checking YouTube to make sure they're not going in and out with showing that we're live and stuff. So I'm just checking YouTube to make sure. All right, so let's so what I want to do now, I want to play this whole thing from beginning to end. And try to examine this without just being just shockingly surprised. But I do want to play it all the way through, trying to only stop it maybe once, because this is very important information that is getting out, regardless if it's Matt Gaetz. Like, this is very, very, it feels like there's a lot of walls being torn down about the military industrial complex, about what the military is willing to do, the CIA, and just different things from Ukraine, just different. Oh, from Ukraine to the blowing up of the Nord Stream pipeline. It just seems like just the mask is just falling from the faces of this imperialist empire. So I have to play this again. Sorry, look away, but this shit is amazing to me.
General Langley, I have constituents that have been scattered across Africa on train and equip missions. So just ballpark, in the last decade, how many Africans has the United States military trained and equipped?
Congressman, I don't have that figure. I can get that figure for you.
Ballpark, just, how many?
Congressman, it would be a wild guess, right?
Seems like something we should know, right?
Over the years, we have trained a substantial number, especially in the Gulf of Guinea states, but including
like more than 10,000.
It is more than 10,000.
More than 50,000.
I'd say we're reaching around 50,000 at least.
And what percentage of the people we've trained end up participating in insurrections or coups against their own government?
Very small number, Congressman. Very small number.
So what percentage do you think?
I'd say probably less than 1%.
But it does happen.
The IMET program is in force, and we've pushed a significant number through our schools across the.
Yeah, and what data sets do you track to arrive at the conclusion that less than 1% of the roughly 50,000 that we've trained have participated in coups? Because it'd be like about 500, about 1% of 50,000.
Congressman, you may have that information. I don't at this time, but I know.
Well, I know there are some, right? Like go ahead and throw up that image. This is Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, and this is a photo of him. Did we train and equip him in Guinea?
By name, I cannot identify that.
Well, that guy in the middle with the big red hat, Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, that's him with a bunch of U.S. service members outside of our embassy. And just months after this photo was taken in 2021, he led a coup in Guinea and threw out the leader. Does that concern you?
Congressman, core values is what we start off with in IMA programs.
Do we share core values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Core values. I will repeat that. Core values. Respect for humanity.
Do we share those values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Absolutely. In our curriculum.
He led a coup.
We do.
Okay, well, that's a very telling answer. In Burkina Faso, did we share core values with the leader that we trained there who led a coup?
It's in our curriculum. We stress core values. We request civilian-led governance.
Wait, hold on. Is leading coups in our curriculum?
Absolutely not.
So
civilian-led.
My question is, do we share core values with the coup leader in Burkina Faso, who we trained?
Holistically, we teach core values with a respect for civilian governance, apolitical, and that's what sticks across a very high percentage in the 90 over 99 percentile.
But not everybody. And when I wonder how many people it takes to plan a coup. I mean, initially you didn't know how many we trained and equipped. Then you said it was 1%. You had no basis for that 1% number because there's no data set you track. Mr. Chairman, I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record. Another U.S. trained soldier stages a coup in West Africa by the Intercept.
Without objection, so ordered.
And I further seek unanimous consent to enter into the record. U.S. forces trained the Guinean colonel behind the recent coup in West African country, and this is regard to Guinea.
Without objection, so ordered.
So I guess the question is, why should U.S. taxpayers be paying to train people who then lead coups in Africa?
Congressman, our curriculum harvests core values and also to be able to embolden these countries for a representative democracy.
But General, that democracy isn't what emerges. The problem is, I know you may have great confidence in what you're teaching, but when two governments have been overthrown, I guess how many governments have to be overthrown by people we train before you sort of get the message that our core values might not be sticking with everyone? Is it 5 countries? 10?
We'll continue with our persistence in assuring
but do you think it's
that
working?
they harbor democratic norms, democratic values.
Just a moment ago, you
apolitical.
said we shared core values with Colonel Doumbouya. You said that just moments ago in response to my question, and his core value seems to be leading a coup. So I don't think it's stuck. I think we should at least know how many countries we train the coup plotters in. How many is too many? Because clearly 2 is not too many, and I think we could use our resources far more effectively than doing this.
So I let it play all the way through. It's disturbing to watch when you understand that Matt Gaetz is who he is. It almost devalues, or not devalues, but it doesn't you don't get all the value. Like the exchange rate, because it's coming from him, the exchange rate for the value of this is a lot lower than if it was a different messenger. He's been labeled the crazies, along with Marjorie Taylor Greene. So, but like somebody said in the comments, or a bunch of you said actually, and in the comments, rotating hero, in the same sense that we have a rotating villain. There's rotating heroes in the same sense. So, great point. We'll leave it there. I'll get to the next topic. I wish we flipped on live when we were covering the Anna stuff, because we covered it for a long time. So sorry for those that are just now joining and figuring out that, hey, we've been live for a long time, but for whatever reason, YouTube did not have us live for like the first hour and 15 minutes of the show, or longer than that, hour and a half of the show. They did not have us live. So, is this a new? Hang on a second here. Oh no, I'm sorry. I got the wrong clip. There's another clip from them I'm supposed to be playing. My bad. That's why I was like, wait a minute. One that looks like a video we've covered before. That they're covering. So that's not the video. The one I'm looking for from them is this one. So Matt Taibbi went on there. They had there was a pretty decent interview. They asked a lot of different things that they haven't been, because Matt has been on a lot of shows lately, but this one is the interview was completely different. And the question they're asking here is Matt Taibbi on being banished from MSNBC for Russiagate take. So this is pre Twitter files, what they're talking about. The video's current, but what they're talking about is pre Twitter files, how he was banished because of Russiagate. Let's listen. Oh, actually, let me put up the right banner here for Aaron, make this easier for Aaron. So we haven't started yet. So this is Matt Taibbi on being banished we'll say we'll just leave it there. So Matt Taibbi on being banished, and I'll correct that E to make it uniform, and put this back up again. Now that we are actually showing live, thank you everybody. It feels like we're just starting the show, but we're not. We're coming to an end. But thank you for joining, even though things kind of haywire in the beginning. We got up to 270 odd people watching. Let's make sure we have probably, let's see where we're at here. My bad, everybody. All right, so we're going to cover this clip, but before we do that, I'm going to shout out our Substack. We're at 225 likes. Let's see if we can push to 275, 50 more people. Hit that like button. We've had over 700 people come through and watch, so there's plenty room to get a few more likes. Let's try to get to 275 for this or I think I got this segment in a short one maybe. Like this video for this last segment. Make sure you get on our Substack. You saw what happened the first 90 minutes. We were live, but it showed that we weren't live. So make sure you get on our Substack so you get direct notifications regardless of what's happening on YouTube. Very, very important. Here is our website, revolutionaryblackoutnetwork.com. Check it out. We're having a labor fundraiser for our employee. Goal is $1,000. We're raising Venmo, Revolutionary Blackout. If you would like the GoFundMe, just email us. It's scrolling at the bottom there, and we'll send the GoFundMe. So let's get back now talking about Matt Taibbi on being banished from MSNBC and maybe like corporate, like cable news after Russiagate, because he didn't hop on board with that. And it's a casual conversation, so let's listen.
All right, so I am I've written extensively about this. I am a confessed recovering MSNBC junkie. so I was watching it back when you were allowed on there. Long before the Twitter files, you were banished from the hallowed halls of respectable media punditry. You stopped appearing in those outlets. Now, was there a specific incident, or was it just a general gradual parting of the ways of your politics?
Well, it's funny. When the Russia story kind of blew up, the few of us in the journalism community who were skeptics, we started to become kind of tight because there, among other things, because there were so few of us, and we kind of put our heads together and tried to figure out which was the last time any of us was invited on a major network. And I think I was the last one. It turned out to be the first week of January in 2017. I was on with Chris Hayes and Malcolm Nance, of all people.
Wow.
And yeah, I didn't really say anything too controversial, except this is obviously a big deal. It's like the Super Bowl of intelligence controversies, and we don't have a whole lot of information yet to go on, and who knows, right? I mean, you're not really supposed to have that take on TV, but that was my take: is we don't have anything to go on. And I wasn't invited on after that. Then I had about a year later, I had a scandal. So it could have been connected to that, like the my little Me Too thing. But there was a good year before that when I was kind of conspicuously not on TV, and I'm pretty sure that was connected to the Russia thing.
Yeah, there was a palpable shift, which you've written a lot about, after Trump was elected, where just any dissenting voice was just not acceptable. And you wrote from very early on that as a reporter, you didn't really think that the reporting on Russiagate was justified by the information that was available.
Yeah, I didn't have strong feelings about it. I mean, I had lived there, so people were always calling me about it. But when I did look at it, I thought, wow, there's an awful lot of anonymous sources here, and when the anonymous sources are pointing us in a direction, it's at something else that's unconfirmable, and that there's always danger signs when you can't like recreate the work in the lab, right? As a reporter. So that just made me nervous from the beginning. Like there was this amazing story I remember really early that was widely reported that the outgoing, as Obama was leaving office, intelligence officials told other intelligence agencies like the Mossad not to share intelligence with the United States because there were leverages of compromise on the incoming administration. I thought that's an incredible story, right? Like whatever is going on with Russiagate, that's a real story. Somebody had to call up a reporter and tell them that, and that's extraordinary. But what are they basing that on? And I think a lot of reporters actually just got confused by the hugeness of that one real phenomenon. I mean, like somebody was really telling the Mossad not to share information, but based on what? Like it was like the Russian nesting doll. That was you never got to what was actually in the middle of it, and that was a problem. Just to interject quickly, I was also in the year before Trump got elected. I was on TV a lot that year because I had been, a lot of the stuff that I'd written about Trump was popular with the MSNBC crowd.
Right. Sure.
I had a lot of colorful things to say about him, but if you go back and look, one of the things that I was saying was he's going to do well, and Hillary Clinton is the ideal candidate for him to be running against. But in the way things are in the media, people read what they want to read. It's kind of like a Rorschach test. And so after the election.
So it's, I mean, in hindsight's 2020, and, considering the Twitter files and some of the reporting that has come out about Russiagate in particular, we can say that it wasn't like the people who kind of banished him was good fake actors. It wasn't like they really believed that, and they shunned him because he was an outsider, because he didn't believe that. They knew it wasn't real, but they still pushed it, and because he wasn't willing to go along with it, he was ousted. He was banished. That's very telling when you're thinking about stuff about Trump, when you're thinking about all these things that we're hearing consistently. January 6th is another one. It's especially with the Twitter files and just uncovering some of the government agencies, government elected officials with their hand in on this sort of censorship, with the Hunter Biden, with the Russiagate and all this stuff, and then with COVID and vaccinations. All right, so I said too much. So let's listen a little more. We won't listen to the whole thing. We'll listen to maybe another 2 or 3 minutes of it.
Suddenly that didn't look so good, I guess.
Yeah, and then, obviously you followed the Russiagate saga, all the way through the end, and, has it ended really? But you're right about, in that sort of chapter on Hate Inc. about how Rachel Maddow was going to take the fall for this, and how a lot of, respectable media was willing to throw her under the bus for the sins that they were all pretty much complicit in committing. I just have to tell you this because I think it's funny, because you wrote about March 22nd, 2019, which was yesterday. That was the day my twin boys were born. They had their fourth birthday yesterday. But here's how this happened. So my kids are born. My twins are born. It's like one of the most profound days of my life, right? And then when my in-laws come to the hospital to see them, they're hours old. my mother-in-law gets a beep on her phone saying the Mueller report was turned in and they say there's going to be no new charges. And I'm like, oh man, no new charges. I so want to go on Twitter and troll the libs now, but I can't. I just had my children. This is the most sacred day of my life. And I'm thinking, I can't do it. I can't do it, but I wanted to. But you're right about those following days. And
that's funny. That's a good, funny little anecdotal story to sort of end this particular video. I do have a second video I wanted to cover from Do Dissidence, and I'll kind of just label this the Do Dissidence segment and what a couple of subcategories. The one I wanted to cover was this latest one on Marianne Williamson. I want to hear their take on this because we had a take. I think I covered this, but once we get into it, I'll see. Now I haven't seen this video. This dropped when we were streaming, like right before we were streaming. I saw this appear in my notifications. So let's listen. I'm curious to hear their opinion on it. Let me put the title. So this is Do. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, so I think I got it right. All right, so now let's label it this. Do Dissidence on... Oh, I didn't spell that right. Do Dissidence. There we go. And this is Kyle on Williamson. Because that's what this is covering, I believe so. Because I kind of like, move the video through to see some of the receipts, and it looks like some stuff that we covered, or I covered, not Nick. So we can start it here, Aaron. We're gonna do a Do Dissidence segment. Kyle on Williamson. Let's listen to what the guys over at Do Dissidence says.
Kyle Kulinski was stuck about 970,000 to 980,000 subs for well over a year. And then campaign season started, and he figured out that the way he was going to boost his subscription count was he had to back a candidate. So he's been all in on Mary.
I'm just going to clear my throat right here. This is the same thing that RBN has been saying. The same thing. Let's listen to some more.
Marianne Williamson for the last couple of months, and boom, million subs, baby. That's what I told you this was about. That's what I told you this was about. You got to listen to me. You got to listen to me. Okay? So now we're going to break this down because now he is all in for Marianne Williamson, and he was very, very upset at a Politico article that recently came out. I'm just going to toss this on the screen very, very quickly because we have some other exhibits that we're going to show. But this came out here. Marianne Williamson's abusive treatment of 2020 campaign staff revealed. All right. So this details some allegations of workplace abuse at Marianne campaign headquarters in 2020. Kyle put out a video tearing this apart, or so he tried. We're going to play excerpts from this video. We will link to the full video in the description. I will update the description of this video with that so that people can watch the whole thing if they want. There's really no reason to. We just want to make sure that you understand we're not editing it in a manipulative way to take anything out of context. So we'll give you access to the full thing.
This video made me fucking furious. It's so dishonest. It's so deceptive. It's so disrespectful to the people who watch him and trust that he's telling them the truth. Like the things that he does here, the tactics that he uses, they're not only corporate media propaganda tactics. There is no kind interpretation you can put on it. Well, he's distorting it. It's on. No, he lies. He lies repeatedly, just one lie after another, demonstrably.
So a couple of things. I was listening while I was off camera. My daughter came into the room. So the point that I think it's Keaton that made the point. That's the voice I was hearing. That Keaton makes about Kyle has been sitting, trying to get to 1 million for a while. Ding, 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 ding. How do I get there? So back a candidate. And you trying to tell me these people who support, they don't understand how they're part of the Bernie Sanders industrial complex and how they built their audience on Bernie, so they understand election cycles. You need a candidate to build your platform. So he's been hovering at 1 million. Literally, people have been joking about it. Jimmy has been saying he's been sitting there, can't get to 1 million for a long time. That's really been a threshold he wanted to get. Magically, the guy who didn't like Marianne Williamson before did a video on that, called her out about her Medicare for All and other things, magically changed his mind, magically is for her, and does more than just tell people, hey, you know, the truth about her. He is literally exaggerating to the point of lies, and that's what Russell makes the point that this is literal. He's literally lying in the video. Now I know which one we're talking about. So let's listen.
Throughout this segment, and one thing I'll point out before we get into it, he doesn't. This is unusual not to put up the article text on the screen when you're breaking down an article. He can't, because he's lying. He's lying about what's in the article. If he actually put up the text, it would contradict what he's saying.
All right, let's get started here.
Marianne Williamson, what do we know for sure? What do we know as a rock solid fact? In the 1980s, when everybody was running away from HIV and AIDS patients at 100 miles an hour, Marianne Williamson was holding their hands and giving them their medicine as they died, and giving them love and affection as they died. So take the biggest upside of Marianne Williamson, her kindness, her sympathy, her empathy, and turn it into a weakness and go, actually, you guys might not know this, she's the worst person in the world to have ever lived.
Okay, so this is what Kyle is not telling you. Yes, a lot of people were running away from AIDS patients, and God bless her for doing that work. I'm not denying that she did do work like that. But at the same exact time, people were running away from Marianne Williamson for being a crazy, manipulative tyrant who would drive her staff to tears. And she was actually often accused by people of using what she was doing to gain fame and notoriety.
Now, let me interject here, because Russell is not talking about the article written in 2023. Russell is talking about years ago, decades ago, with Marianne Williamson, what she was known as at that time. And the article, I think it was a political article, references the article, the other writings about her in the 80s. I believe it was the 80s. So this is what Russell's talking about, not today's article.
Around Hollywood.
2023 article.
So we have the first exhibit. Other criticism.
This is People magazine, 1992. I was off. I said 80s. 1992. Nobody's running for office. She's not challenging nothing. This is just an article on her.
Criticism centers on her high-handed management. Now this is from an article that appeared in People magazine 30 years ago. And you're going to see a lot of similarities as we go back and forth between this Politico article that Kyle is claiming is completely untrue. It's uncannily similar to the complaints that people had about her 30 years ago. They were saying the same exact thing about her back then. Last year, in a dispute over the Manhattan Center for Living's religious orientation, William dismissed most of its board members, including film director Mike Nichols, who went on to create a rival AIDS support organization. So in New York, the whole, a good portion of the board wound up, led by Mike Nichols, went and created their own AIDS organization rather than to work with Marianne Williamson. So now on the LA side, she went through 4 different executive directors. So she finally fired a very popular local politician who had become executive director, leading to an uprising among the staff. So in LA, Williamson's 20-member Center for Living staff rebelled last month after the firing of the center's 4th director in 5 years, popular local politician Steve Schultz, who had clashed frequently with Williamson over business strategy. Some employees are attempting to unionize in an effort, they say, to protect themselves from Williamson's bad-tempered caprices. Wow, this sounds pretty familiar. So this is what he's not telling you about her AIDS charity work. That at the same time, there was a lot of controversy around her AIDS charity work because the people who worked with her said she was impossible to work with.
So, again, People Magazine 30 years ago said this. No idea she's running for president. No idea that Oprah Winfrey will hook her up on the show. None of that. This is pre all of that. No, she may have been. Oprah was on in 92. Yeah, so Oprah, she could have already been on Oprah Winfrey show. But the point being, now to fast forward to the Political article with all like 12 anonymous sources, like what they could have done is saw this old real article describing her really, and then just created a hit piece around the narrative that she already established 30 years ago. That is very, very possible to have happened. So both can be true that she is this, and I said this before, it could be true that she is this type of person, and that the Political article, the Politico, I need to make sure, not political, but Politico with an O article could have been a hit piece or is a hit piece, but the People Magazine article is not. Let's continue.
Even then.
All right, let's keep going.
One of the criticisms in there, she's really indecisive. So she would have an event that was on the schedule. She'd be getting ready for that event, and then she'd cancel that event, and then she'd put that event back on, and that would anger her staff. And she would like yell in the process of doing these things. They say,
okay,
oh,
that is not what it says. That's not the complaint. So this is a very.
So I haven't covered this video of Kyle. It looks like I'm gonna have to cover it. I do now recall seeing it, but we never had a chance to cover it. This is about the Politico article. I covered the Politico article, Nick and I, and we were one of the first channels to cover it. And Kyle is notoriously cover shit way late. So he could have just now gotten around to the article. But it is true. So far, the reason he's not putting the article up is because he is lying right now. What he just said, he's omitting part of the story here. So let's go back and listen.
Would have an event that was on the schedule. She'd be getting ready for that event, and then she'd cancel that event, and then she'd put that event back on, and that would anger her staff.
Okay, the full article, because I read the article, like I said, I covered it, and I need to have it up to even remember what it says. What the complaint was, she would put these events on the schedule, cancel them, and then turn around and act like the staff canceled them and is just trying to sabotage her, or she would put them back on, and they for whatever reason something would happen, and she would act like the staff is trying to sabotage her when she's the one who's taking them off and putting them back on. That's what the complaint was. He's trying to make it seem like all they were just saying is you're taking it and putting it back on. We're mad.
and she would like yell in the process of doing these things. They say,
Okay,
oh, she's actually...
that is not what it says. That's not the complaint. So this is a very sneaky, and he continuously does this, distorts what's actually in the article. Okay, so he's trying to make it kind of vaguely anti-feminist. Oh, they're saying that she's indecisive. No, they're not saying she's indecisive. They're saying she's a fucking abusive maniac. Those former aides said Williamson's behavior was hard to predict. She berated staffers for seemingly inconsequential things, like if they booked a hotel room that had a walk-in shower and not a bathtub, they said. She would tell her staff to cancel an event, only to change her mind a day later and accuse them of trying to undermine her campaign. She obsessed over the physical appearance of, this is another thing, but that's Keaton's road to hoe. She obsessed over the physical appearance of others and ridiculed staffers for being overweight, according to 4 former aides. Williamson said she never mocked anyone for their weight. That's her response. Okay, so you see what Kyle is doing here? Yeah, they say she's indecisive. That is not the meaning of that paragraph. That paragraph is saying that she would change her mind and then abuse her staff for the change.
Yeah, for not
adapting. That's the
whim.
point of that paragraph, not what he's saying.
Right.
He's
right,
lying.
exactly.
He just
so rude that she mocks people's appearances.
So it has
and she goes
become
out.
clear. It's become clear that he's willing to distort this information about this candidate in order for him to reach 1 million subscribers. So regardless of how much money the working class and poor people lose in this, regardless, the professional managerial class, the Bernie Sanders industrial complex got what they wanted. The guy who convinced Marianne Williamson, the guy who recruited her, remember we covered that? Let me convince you to run for president. He literally said that. That's the words he said. Let me convince you to run for president so I can cover you and I can finally hit 1 million subscribers. And he's literally lying. I'm not going to cover all of Due Dissident's video because it's a brand new video. I want you to go give them your views. So I just wanted to cover a little bit of it. And it looks like I'm going to need to go cover this. So we already got, tomorrow we're going to be covering Glenn Greenwald's interview with Marianne Williamson. So it looks like now I'm going to add this Kyle Kalinske. He just making up shit right here. Listen to maybe another minute and we're going to end this.
After them for their weight. So she fat shames people. These are arguments that are tailor-made to try to get like a left-wing base to abandon her when, of course, the left-wing base is like the only group in the country right now that's already sort of solid supporters. Turn your strength into your weakness.
Okay,
Are you lying?
No. See, this is where
That is a complete lie.
See, Kyle, just look at what we're doing. I feel like this is a good frame to pause it on here. There is no base of support for Marianne Williamson. I will remind you once again, she is polling at 0. She's polling at 0. When they force her into the question in a head-to-head matchup against Joe Biden, where it's the 3 choices are Biden, Williamson, other. She finished 3rd behind other at 4%. There is no base of support.
That's sad when you finish behind other.
She finished behind other. It was Biden 70, I believe.
Other
I
for
forget
president.
what exactly Biden's percentage was. Biden was in the mid 70s. Other was at 9. She was at 4. That's the way it was. All right. So there is no base of support here. The idea that they are targeting a woke progressive reader who, by the way, what percentage of Politico's readership fits that description?
Yeah.
I don't know. The idea that they are targeting her base and trying to get her base of progressives to turn on her by mentioning that she mocked people for their weight is delusional, insane, conspiratorial thinking. They put this article out for one reason and one reason only. It's a nice, juicy gossip story while Marianne's in the news.
Yep,
that's it.
It's clickbait.
That's it.
It's clickbait.
There is no.
Clickbait. I think that's a good spot to end it. Everybody, I've been on already 2.5 hours. I only planned 90 minutes, but that's okay because we had a little glitch in the beginning. On your way out, make sure you hit that like button because if you didn't know, we were showing that we weren't even live for the first 90 minutes. The first 90 minutes of the show, we were live, but it showed that the show hadn't even started if you were to go on YouTube and see. So my apologies for that. I don't, I'm not sure what happened, but I'll try to make sure that doesn't happen again if I'm able to identify what actually happened. And then what we're gonna do is I'm probably gonna add this Kyle interview, not do Dissident's reaction, but just this Kyle interview because it sounds like he lies a lot through this whole interview. So I want to break it down myself along with Glenn Greenwald interview with Marianne Williamson. We're going to be covering that on the Nick and CJ show tomorrow. So make sure you join us. If you hadn't had a chance to hit that like button, like I said, we were suppressed for 90 minutes. So today, the likes are going to be a little more important than any other day. So make sure you hit that like button. We've had over 900 people, individual people roll through here. So getting to 325 likes should be nothing. We're at 275 right now. So 75 more people hit that like button before you leave. And yeah, you'll just rewind to watch all of it because this was a crazy stream. First 90 minutes didn't even have anything. Nobody thought we were live. So thank you for those that was able to just click on it and say, hey, let me click on it and see what's going on. And you were here. So hit that like button on your way out. No intro video today. I'm just going to leave you with one of these.